Joined now by our national team reporter, Matthew Scianitti, pitch side at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Tajon Buchanon is still on the minds of his teammates, and that was very evident at their final training session today, wasn't it, Matthew?
Absolutely, Jermaine. When you think of the week that was, at the start, we were thinking Tajon Buchanan could be the X factor on the field. I'm not going to go so far as say he'll be the X factor off the field, but he certainly now is a form of motivation for this team. And I'll take you through what usually happens on what they call match day -1. So today is not necessarily extensive training day. It's more of a walkthrough. So back at the campus of TCU, after they had their walkthrough, Jesse Marsh and his entire team actually formed the number 17, and that is to correspond with, obviously, Tajon Buchanan's jersey number. I was speaking to those around Tajon Buchanan after he had successful surgery, and he was discharged today. And I got a message from someone close to him saying, who was bedside with Tajon Buchanan, that this brotherhood with the Canadian men's national team is, quote, so impressive. As a roster of these players kept filing through at the hospital, the local Dallas hospital, just the energy they were giving Tajon. I had an indication earlier this week, after the injury had happened, that Tajon Buchanan was not going to come to this game against Venezuela. But I'm now hearing that, in fact, after everything that's happened, all the emotion that has swelled, Tajon Buchanan will be here at AT&T Stadium tomorrow.
And another storyline for Canada is that they will be facing another loud and boisterous South American team with thousands of very vocal supporters. How difficult will it be for them?
Well, you heard it off the top there, Jesse Marsh and Alistair Johnston talking about it. I have been with them since they have been in Rotterdam about a month ago. There has been a lot of partisan crowds they have faced in the Netherlands and then in Bordeaux in France, and then you go through Atlanta, Orlando, Kansas City. And it's something that interesting, actually, that Kyle Larin told me after the Chilean anthem was being played in Orlando, that all of the players, Canada starting 11, looked at each other after the Chilean national anthem was sung so passionately by the Chilean fans. They looked at each other and they kind of laughed, not to dismiss the anthem, but to kind of say, we're getting used to this idea of this pressure, this noise, this energy that's being pointed towards us. Now, certainly, as you heard Marsh and Alistair Johnston say there, that Canada's going to be focused on their tactics. It sounds simple enough, knowing what this game means to Venezuela. As you said, Jermaine, they are 54th in the world, but haven't made the semifinals of Copa America. Remember, this isn't traditionally a soccer country in the CONMEBOL region, but they haven't made the semifinals of Copa America for 13 years, so this is a big moment for them. But you wonder, when you look at what tomorrow is going to be, it's 90 minutes to score a goal, really, because in the altered format of this Copa America in 2024, it's 90 minutes and then it's a shootout. So all that energy, Canada's going to have to deal with it. And as we've been saying all week long, they're going to have to find a way to score. If not, it'll be penalties right after 90 minutes.
That is the truth. And with the looming threat of a penalty shootout, tell us how Jesse Marsh is preparing for that distinct possibility.
Well, on Wednesday, after he did a 7v7 tournament with his players, he actually had his players line up. Now, for those who've never watched an international shootout before, I know many of us have over this summer of soccer, but when you go ahead and you actually situate the teams at the center line, then a player walks up right to the penalty spot and they take their penalty. Jesse Marsh has kind of been balancing some of the stats that he had for the previous coaching staff of the Canadian men's national team and the observations he was making on Wednesday during practice. He had the entire team walk up with the ball on the spot and take a penalty. Obviously, penalties have been such a part of the narrative of the men's national team in major tournaments. You go back to, obviously, Alphonso Davies missing against Belgium in the World Cup. Jesse Marsh deciding that Jonathan David's going to now be taking penalties if that happens in regular time. But he was watching quite closely. If it gets to that moment, he says he has a list of his players he trusts to put the ball in the back of the net.
This will be just the third all-time meeting between the two nations, with both of the other games ending in 2-2 draws. Matthew, thanks for this.